Welcome to the Sisters-in-Laws podcast. Abortion and elective termination has always been a topic in the U.S. with many opposing views. Roe v. Wade was a 1973 landmark decision by the U.S. Supreme Court. The court ruled that a state law that banned abortion, except to save the life of a mother, was unconstitutional. The ruling made abortion legal in many circumstances. With the 2020 presidential election right around the corner, states like Alabama, Georgia, and recently Missouri are attempting to pass laws to reduce gestational age for abortions up to banning abortions in those states altogether, attempting to overturn Roe versus Wade. For September, we are exploring the healing and grief side of abortion on the Sisters-in-Laws podcast. In the medical world, the terminology miscarriages are called spontaneous abortions or pregnancy loss. And in this community, we have to learn how to extend grace to individuals who electively terminate their pregnancies no matter their choice. Join us this month as we explore abortion stories and how healing, grief, and shame can keep us all bound if we do not speak up and share. Welcome to the Sisters-in-Laws podcast. You're listening to the Sisters-in-Laws podcast, a faith-based grief and loss podcast for Black women, where you will hear stories of miscarriage, infant loss, stillbirth, and infertility to learn there is a testimony in tragedy. You will learn how to heal, gain clarity, find hope and peace, and turn your pain into your purpose after loss. I'm your host, Erica M. McAfee. Welcome to episode 113 of the Sisters-in-Laws podcast. After being diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, also known as PCOS, today's guest was surprised when she found out she was pregnant and the child's father asked her to terminate the pregnancy. Raina Brown shares intimate details of her choice to terminate her pregnancy, how she conquered grief, and how she is healing by identifying and naming her baby she never had a chance to hold. This episode is for you to listen to if you have ever been in a relationship and had to make a decision that was life-altering, like deciding to have an abortion. Here is Raina Brown. Thank you, Raina, for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I would like for you to share in your own words a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, of course, I'm Raina Brown. I am a full-time college student in my master's in marriage and family therapy with an emphasis in military families. I am the CEO and founder of Isaiah's Art, a new beginning before and after counseling and consulting firm. And I will actually be debuting that the 1st of February, where I will let everyone know exactly what I do. What else do I do? I am an advocate for mental health, especially in the African American community. And I am an advocate for those that have been abused. And I am a first-time self-published author and speaker as well.
Yes, so we'll talk a little bit more about your book, but just take us back on that journey, your journey to motherhood, and share with us your journey through loss and infertility.
Well, my journey through motherhood actually started when I was 19. I got pregnant after high school in December. I actually got an early Christmas gift. So with that early Christmas gift, it was what we would call happy times, at the same time, scary time. Because at the time, me and my child's father, we were together, but me not knowing that we actually wasn't together, he had a fiance. So to make a long story short, there was some decision that had to be made that I really didn't want to make. It was more of a force, but my journey to motherhood actually stopped March 2007, 07, believe it or not. I had an abortion. I felt like my child was a little boy, so I named him Isaiah Eugene, after my father's name, his first name. And from there, you could say everything kind of went downhill. So with me, mental health is a big thing. And for someone that never thought that they would actually have to go down a road like that, because I've always wanted to be a mother, it's hard because so many people feel like when you have an abortion, it doesn't bother you. But in all actuality, it messes with you mentally and emotionally. So with me, having that done, it literally messed me up emotionally and mentally to where that day that I had the procedure done is also the day that my heart turned stone. And you might well could say I died on that table as well. Fast forward to me going off to school, me being sick a whole year while I was away from school, not knowing why. Come to find out, when I moved back to Georgia, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is also known as PCOS. So with that, I was told it's a strong possibility that I may or may not be able to conceive, or I could conceive and not be able to carry the child because with me having PCOS, what happens is my body doesn't ovulate. And when it decides to ovulate, it's maybe once every 3 to 4 years. But because of the procedure, I actually have scar tissue. And with that scar tissue, it's, as the doctor would say, it would be close to none, me not being able to carry a child. So now we have the aspect of the PCOS and the abortion signs and, just sitting there like, wow, now I really can't have my heart's desire. So it kind of puts you in that place where it's like, what am I supposed to do? Do I sit there and push in and still try when that time comes? Or do I just love on my nieces and nephews that are my world? Or maybe one day down the road, just adopt. I've been told, hey, maybe you get your eggs froze and have somebody else carry for you. That's not fun. But after all of that, that is when I finally went to a retreat last year in February. Yeah, last year in February when I was living in Ohio, I went to a retreat called Rachel's Vineyard. And it's for those that have had abortion or any type of miscarriage. And it helps you start your healing process. For 11 years, I was so damaged. I was so broken. I didn't see the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow because all I see was just pain and turmoil and just, hatred that I had to where the point to where I didn't know whether I was going to seeing my siblings have children. It's hard. My best friend got pregnant. It was hard for me to be happy for because I felt like I should able to be happy, but at the same time, that I should have been able to have that same joy that everyone else had. And for a lot of people, they feel like, well, you chose this route. And in all actuality, I had no choice. And then this is my first time actually speaking publicly about. I feel that when it comes to this issue of having an abortion and then turning around and having fertility issues such as polycystic ovarian syndrome, it's not talked about. And it's a lot of women out there who have had abortions done, and some may or may not be able to have children, and then come right back around and also have fertility issues as well. So the way I look at it is, I feel like I can be that voice for those that are scared to talk, who feel like they're going to be shamed and be put down because of a decision that they either had no choice or they had a choice, but everyone has a reason for what they do. So with the retreat, it was a healing process. And within that healing process, I made a promise to my son that I was going to do two things. I was going to work on Isaiah's heart, and I was going to finally sit down and finish writing the last chapters and the last stories of my book. So for me, from February up until I got my first copies out to those that did pre-sales, I was in, I was pregnant from February all the way up to December. I started feeling the contractions of things happening with the book, such as I went through 3 different editors. I had so many backups to where the book was supposed to come out on one day, it didn't. It was supposed to come out on another day, it didn't. But as I thought about it, I thought about it like this. The birthing process that I was going through was the promise that I made. So everything that I was doing, it was just showing myself, you can do it. Just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. And when that time comes to push the baby out, that'll be it. You'll be pushing the baby out, which means I pushed out the book. I pushed out my promise for my son. So that's basically my journey through motherhood, my loss, and everything else. I just felt like I need to keep my promise to my child. And with that, the other promise is that I will continue to heal, that I will continue to make sure that I don't give up on my goals or my truth. And that I also spread awareness of, things happen. I'm still a mother. Mental health is still real. And just like those that feel like counseling isn't good, I went to counseling. I have a counselor to this day. And with every loss, whether it's been a miscarriage, abortion, stillbirth, accident, I look at it like this. That life is now with God, and your child or children are still in your heart and they're staring down at you and they're proud of you. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I think that when a lot of people think of abortion, they may put it into a negative light, where it is not often compared or in the same sentence of just any other termination or miscarriage. But either way you look at it, it is still, a blessing to be able to get pregnant, no matter if you electively terminate or if your baby is just lost for whatever reason. I think that, as you said, that God definitely does have provision over the children that are in heaven, and they're in heaven and we will see them one day again. So thank you for sharing that and just talking about your journey through your decision, and then how infertility has affected you as well in your journey now up into your future pregnancies. So let's talk about just the spiritual journey. You touched on a little bit about just kind of how your mental health was and you having a counselor. So go a little deeper and really tell us about how your faith really played a role into just your journey through releasing that shame and any other stigma that you may have had around having an abortion, and then what you did to actually get to a place of healing at the retreat specifically.
Well, my faith at the time, it was gone. I was angry at God for so many reasons because I felt like you allowed this to happen, but we know we have God's will, His permissive will. But the way I look at it is like, you allowed this to happen and then turn right back around and make me have to make that decision to where my heart desire was to always be a mother. So I literally had lost touch with who God was. I didn't want anything to do with anything anyone had to say. I was raised in the church. So a lot of people say, well, your father's this, your father's a minister, this, that, and the third. You should always be happy. You should know that your help comes from God. But when you're hurting, you've been hurting for over 11 years or even more, it makes it so hard to be able to say, you know what, God, I trust you. It does. And it hurts because it's like you're trying over and over and over again, but you can't do it, no matter how hard you try. So, as I mentioned, my son's name was Isaiah. So, how I kept up with my faith, even when I didn't want to, I get signs. So, my signs come from things like if I'm having a bad day or if something's going to happen and I'm getting a warning, God sends me a message from the book of Isaiah. Whether it's from me going on Instagram, whether it me just popping up on Facebook or on someone's news feed. Like, for example, my favorite Bible verse is Isaiah 54:17. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. I kid you not, like this morning I got Isaiah 1:16. And just when I see his name, like, okay, God, you're giving me a sign that everything's going to be okay. It's still hard for me, but each day I get a sign from him. It's letting me know that, okay, Raina, you're still alive. People may see you physically, but spiritually, you're still alive, even though you're still hurt. You're not broken anymore. You're fractured. Meaning God has been mending things for me. When it came to the retreat was based off of biblical. And there was one instance three instances where one of them is we had to close our eyes and just picture us being in the field and your child coming up to you handing you flowers. The bouquet that I got, it had one specific flower in the bouquet, and that was sunflower. So when the flowers started dying, I cut the flowers down. I tied them up and I put them on my dashboard when I drove. And just so happenly, I started driving. All of a sudden, all the flowers moved but one. The one that didn't move was the sunflower. The sunflower, I shared with my son. So with the sunflower being there still in that same spot that I put it, that was a reminder from God telling me, no matter what, your child may not be here physically, but he's here with you in your heart. So the sunflower was my son. Those other flowers was all the things people have said about me, done to me, things that God wanted to remove, that He will keep removing. Those were the other flowers, all the issues, all the hurt, all the pain. 11 years of having your heart turned to stone. Times where I just felt like, what's the point of living? What's the point of trying to love when you know deep down inside your heart is stone? The best thing that has ever happened to you is no longer there. So the retreat brought out so much thing to where it made me look at things differently. It showed me, my burden. What was I carrying? What boulder, what rock was I carrying that needed to be laid at the altar, that needed to be put away, that needed to help me break free and to continue the healing. And that was the hatred that I had for my child's father, the pain that I was carrying from my parents, just everything. And when I set that rock down, and I picked up a new one, that new rock was me picking up the new things God has for me. That old rock was me putting away the burden, the shame, the guilt, everything that I was holding on for 11 years, casting it away, letting God handle it. And throughout the process of the retreat, you could just feel God just there. For me, I felt period. And I just kept hearing.
Our Healing in Prayer Summit is coming soon, just in time for Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month in October. The summit will be held on Tuesday nights for the entire month of October, beginning on October the 1st, 2019 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Registration to the Healing in Prayer Summit is free. And guess what? Everything is going to be online and live. We're going to be speaking on topics of healing after loss, trying again after loss, therapy after loss, parenting after loss, and stress management after loss. To register, go to ericamcafee.com/summit. Once again, ericamcafee.com/summit. And I can't wait to see you there. Tell us about your book and kind of what your process was of healing that led you up until writing those last chapters and finalizing the book, and then go into what the book is about.
Well, the book is called When the Last Petal Falls, and when you see it, the first thing you're going to see is the cover, and the cover is, again, when I talked about the sunflower, and it has the petals falling off of the sunflower, where you have abortion, shame, abuse. And the last petal that's on the flower is called seed. And basically, when it came for the book-wise, the book has been in process in the making for 11 years. The first draft of the book that I did, I just put it this way. I would have hurt a whole bunch of people's feelings. It would have been a lot of people's feelings getting hurt. And a lot of it has to do with, different aspects of people's life. And some may be mine, some may be other people that I came in contact with. No one will know, because it's more of, I want the person to, when they're reading the book, I want them to be able to say, hey, I see myself, or hey, I know somebody that's been through. I know someone that can benefit. And as I was writing it, it was therapeutic for me, because for me, if I don't write it and get it out on paper, it's not going to help me. It's going to basically hinder me, if that makes sense. So the process of it was hard, because technically the first chapter I had already wrote, that was 11 years ago. And from there, the second chapter I wrote, I did it out of order. So like the fifth chapter I did in January of last year, before I even thought about going to any type of retreat. My last chapter, which is chapter three was actually finished in the seventh month at 7 a.m. I have a thing for number seven because my son was born the seventh day. So seven follows me everywhere I go. And it's also the number of completion. So just writing the book, healing, everything that I need to get out, I got out to a certain. I was able to take other people's journey and bring it to life. I was able to put things in perspective. I was able to have people just look at the journey that other people have went through and to see you may have been in a broken place at that time, but you're healed. You're overcoming your strength. You are a beacon of light. You are a force to be reckoned with. You are more than a conqueror. That is basically what I'm saying throughout this book. And it's a combination of short stories. You have maybe some that are a little bit longer than the other, but it's a series. So this one may help a lot of people, and I'm hoping and praying that it does. The next one, I feel like it's going to help even more people. Then the next one's going to help even more people. And it's just raising awareness of hope. In the back of the book, I have a reference sheet where you have the rape hotline, there's an abuse hotline, there's 2 counselors that I put in there, it's a support group that I put in there. It's just to shed light on things happening, not just in African American community, but just all over the world. And just birthing that book, it really just showed me, hey, you're doing what God has called you to do. Yes, you've been through a lot. Yes, you may have felt broken at one point in time, but the fact of the matter is you're healed, you're strong, you're bold, you're brave, you are worth it. And no matter what, it goes back to just because your child is not, you're still a mother. You may not be able to hold your child physically, but you have a niece or a nephew that has captured your heart. You have just other people that you can draw in with your love, and you're able to help them and show them, hey, this may have happened to me or to someone I know, but this is how you can heal from it. This is how you can take the steps to heal from it. Because in my counseling, when I went to counseling, I found out that because of the traumatic things that I've been through, especially that I developed PTSD. And if I never went to counseling, I would have never known. And I'm also now more aware of my triggers. With me and triggers, I know, hey, if I see something about to happen, I know how to walk away from it. I know how to put something else in place. If I don't put it in place, then there's no way I can sit there and make sure I protect myself and always remember, hey, think right now. What's going to happen if you go back into that deep dark place? How are you going to be able to pull yourself out? What sense or what justice are you doing to the promise that you gave your child? What justice are you doing to the promise you gave yourself to always continue to heal, no matter how hard it is? So that's something I always have to
Hearing that. So, what other tools or resources did you use besides the retreat? You mentioned the retreat, and I want you to mention it again so those who are interested can look it up and possibly attend that you use to help continue to heal on this journey.
Okay, so the retreat is called the Rachel's Vineyard. The one in Ohio is actually, I think, late this month or next month. Some of the things that I have used is, other than counseling, I use some of the tools such as writing. I do poetry, so I do that. Certain type of music to help me. I have my best friend who is my biggest support system. He's my little big brother. So me and him may not talk every day, but he knows when I need that help to pull back. And I have support from other family members, other friends. It's just like a small support system that I have, but it's more relying on the promise God has given me and making sure that I keep reminding myself that God has given me a promise. He gave me a vision. He gave me a purpose. I've seen it. No matter what comes my way, I have to keep going on with that step. I have to keep moving. Even when I don't want to, even when I just want to say, I give up, I don't want to do this no more. Because honestly speaking, during this process of that book, there were so many times I wanted to just say, forget it and give people back their money that they pre-sale. But like it goes back to what I stated before. How is that going to benefit me? how is it going to help build the business that God has told me that's going to help other women, going to help other children, going to help other fathers, just family members. Because the stuff that I felt and the stuff that other women have felt, even other men have felt when it came to abortions or just a loss of a child, we need to be able to have that special haven, that special place where it's okay not to be okay. We have so many people that's like, hey, it's okay, you lost your child, but you'll get over it. No, that's not the point. The point is your child, you lost somebody that is close to you. And for some, when it comes to abortion, they feel like, well, technically it wasn't a child. No, 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 no. It was a child. I have had many stories of women telling me, I heard my child's heartbeat. I seen it before I had the procedure done. Not knowing they was not supposed to see their child or hear the heartbeat. So that did something to them even more. So my advice to anyone is if you had a procedure done like that, get counseling. Find that support group because it will actually take off more stress and anguish from you versus you trying to put it on your family members if your family members talk to you. Because some people do it in secrecy. Some people do it with their family around, and after it's done, their family can put up with it. That's it. But until you decide, hey, I want to get that help, I'm tired of being in that dark spot. I'm tired of feeling like my life is worth living. I'm tired of all that. Then you'll be able to say, okay, it's time to get the help.
So, what encouraging words can you leave with the listeners who are battling PCOS or just any other infertility diagnosis and they're ready to begin the process of trying again or just going through that process of getting pregnant?
I would say this. Don't let a lot of people inside what you're doing because you may say, oh, I have a big support system. There's a lot of people that don't want to see. You want to make sure when that time comes and you and your spouse are ready to try or your partner are ready to try to make sure that it's intimate enough to be like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. And, just keep uplifting each other. Just remember that you're not alone because with PCOS, it makes you feel like you're alone because of the different things you go through, the infertility, the mood swing, the hair, everything, depression, and literally just be there for one another. I can't stress that enough because dealing with PCOS and then having to be like, oh, okay, I have the PCOS, but one of the cases where it's going to be even harder for me to get pregnant, you have to be able to have that support system, your small circle, where it's like, you can do this. I'm going to help you get through. I will pray with you. I will pray for you. I will empower you to keep going. I'm not going to sit there and push you away until you cannot do it. Because that's when it becomes damaging, when they say you can't do it. So I personally say you can do it. You have people that are rooting for you, even the ones that don't know you. I'm rooting for you. Just keep your head up, keep the faith, and just know in due season it will happen. It will happen. You will be that mother and your spouse will be that father. Whatever the case may be, it will happen. You will be able to have your bundle of joy. You will be able to feel that fullness in your heart that you've always wanted to feel. Whether it's adoption, whether it's in vitro, whether it's surrogacy, whether it's natural, whatever the case may be, you will get your heart's desire. It may take a while, but you'll get it.
Thank you so much. So, where can we find you on social?
You can find me on Facebook at Raina Brown. You can find me on Instagram at Raina_Denise 5417. Those are the two main things that I'm on. I add everybody. I'm always putting motivational stuff up. I'm putting stuff up about speaking engagements. I'm putting things up about the book, mental health. So yeah, I'm always there to make someone smile and laugh.
Where can we find your book?
I am in the process of putting it on Amazon right now. It should be up on Amazon no later than Wednesday. And also I do, for those that still want copies that are signed that have a special message, I'm also taking orders for those as well. But as soon as everything gets put up, it will be on Amazon Kindle and paperback.
What's the title so people can search it on Amazon? And I'll make sure I link it in the episode notes as well.
When the Last Petal Falls.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Raina, for sharing your story and your light. And we appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Like I said before, this was really exciting.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. For show notes, go to ericaandmcafee.com/podcast. Have you joined the Sisters-in-Laws online community? If not, join us online at sistersinlaws.mn.co. That's where you get all of the tools and the resources and freebies from each of the episodes. I can't wait to talk with you all in the online community. If not, until next time, we will see you next week.